We were never rattled, ever, because we're always in the moment, always in the present, always extremely calm, always looking at the reality of the situation and not letting our emotions cloud our execution. I switch my mind to something else, switch my mode into something else. Stone cold killer. You gotta put yourself in that cage. When I'm in that cage, bro, don't touch me. For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus Decimus Meridius in Gladiator picking up the dirt, smelling the dirt. It's go time.
Up before the dawn, ready for Judgment Day. A lethal underdog, walking on to make 'em pay. Woke up feeling dangerous. That stuff so contagious. We got 10 toes down, so let the haters say what they say.
If you ain't Argent Brown, you
Interesting
don't
inactive today, guys, by the way. Pretty good.
Woke up feeling dangerous. That stuff. We got that dog check. Found in a way you make the wrong bet. If you doubting our game, we give our last breath. One more play and we'll make another name. We're ready for Judgment Day. Against the world. My city is on the brink. Tonight we're about to go. I'm hearing the crowd begin to rise in stereo. Sky's bringing Armageddon in off the lake. Thunder rolls. And all the people shouting out a name. Cleveland, born to fight and believe in. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl.
All righty, everybody. It is week 10 Brownie post-game pre-game show. I am live. I'm your host. We're all live, but I'm your host at Mike Killy on Twitter. Follow me there. I get spicy. Joined with me, as always, my dad, Brownie Post _Dan on Twitter, and the host of the Wednesday show, Bonzo1273. Gentlemen, welcome. Let's start off Browns Patriots. Mike, I'll kick it over to you. Let's get us started here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So they come out swinging. Baker's the game captain. I like it. Go a step further. Jock, we know they activated him yesterday, but he is active today.
Okay.
Not part of the inactive, so he's going to go. We don't know how many snaps, but one more snap than zero is good enough for me on this defense, lacking that speed. They've played well, in his absence, but they're coming back from injury, minus Conklin at a good time. I'm looking for them to get it moving today and go on a roll. I think the winning continues. I'll hold my score till later on. And the only, and we'll talk about it as we go, but the only inactive that I wasn't expecting, but he was day to day, and it was in the same shoulder, was Greedy Williams. So other than that, I feel good. I love that Jock's back, and Baker's the game captain. So
very good, very good. Dad, what about you? What are you excited about today?
Well, it's a game. I mean, another Sunday, a good game, a tough game, an equal game. Whoever plays better, whoever brings their A or B plus game against their C is going to win this game. So it could go either way, but I feel good about it. Baker's on a good roll from last week. The receivers are up. We got rid of Odell. We got that sort of behind us. It will get totally, I think, behind us after Monday night. Having to sit through and watch OBJ in a Browns uniform and making catches, dropping passes, blah, blah, blah. But after Monday night against the 49ers, he'll be in the Rams uniform. He'll either catch passes or he won't catch them. They'll target him or they won't. But at least I'll have him in a Rams uniform. And then you'll see it, from that point on in Rams uniform, not in a Browns uniform.
Right.
That'll be behind us. Looking for a good game. I'm looking for the defense to play well. They're not an outstanding team, so they shouldn't shellac us. We just have to avoid the mistakes. Hopefully Stefanski has cleaned up the stupid penalties, the self-inflicted wounds. And if we can get away from that, we played 4 quarters. Now let's see if we can play 8 quarters in a row, or at least 7 out of 8. That would be great. And I think Baker can score on these guys. I think Johnson can run on these guys. And Miles and Clowney should put pressure on them. I hope they paid attention to the Baltimore game. I think everybody has got that now in their playbook. That's the way you beat the Ravens, is to put pressure on Jackson. Don't give him time to throw. They had 8 guys in the box, not only in the box, but on the line of scrimmage, showing that they were going to blitz.
Yep.
They couldn't stop them. They just literally could not stop them. They stopped their run game. They stopped Jackson from running. So hopefully we file that away. Maybe we use a little bit of it today to put pressure on Jones. But I'm looking for a good, solid 2-game winning streak.
Cool. And we'll get into that in a little bit too, a little bit more here when we get into the old around the AFC North section, because I got some thoughts on that Ravens game as well. In terms of the Browns Patriots, I mean, I think Foxborough or I guess Gillette Stadium, whatever they call it now, is it's an interesting place to play. I don't think it's the most difficult place to play anymore. I think that this is a different Patriots team. I think they are deserving of respect because they are the Patriots. Are still very well coached. They have a very decent team from head to toe in every aspect of the ball. There's not like a weakness that I could see on the Patriots. Other than potentially Mac Jones being a rookie, right? I don't think that they have exceptional weapons on offense either. So I think that there's going to be an opportunity for us if we can get pressure on him, like we did against Joe Burrow.
Then we got to
we're
play
gonna
aggressive.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game from this point on until they beat you. And they couldn't do that against Baltimore. Baltimore could not overcome that blitz as often as they did it. And you don't have to blitz every time. Just show the blitz and then back off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if we can get to Mac Jones like we did Joe Burrow,
Right.
then we're going to force him to make quick decisions. And when you force young quarterbacks to make quick decisions, oftentimes they make mistakes. Right. We saw that with Denzel Ward bringing back a touchdown.
Right.
You know, that is just absolutely, which started off the game. Really quick, I want to give some shout outs to everybody in chat. We have Jonathan Schlegel in the house helping us out from an admin perspective as well as running the giveaway. The giveaway, by the way, is going to be on dogwoofs.com. You can see it it's like the fourth thing down on our topic list that with the arrow there. So head over to dogwoofs.com, get yourself set up for the giveaway. We're doing the guy named Blake shirt from Sabo Apparel. Mario G. Hambone, Steve Z, Callie Rondon, Andrew Walters, Gary Washington's in the house, Mr. Roll Up 10, Mids Plug, Mike R, that guy, Gary Washington already said, my dad is here, Jason Kimball, who else we got? American Saxon, I see. Isaiah Gassina. Chubba Wubba Hub 24. Xander is in the house. Brendan Salling. Chris Saylor. Everybody, welcome. As we Arendal. Zebra, Ski Meister, Mark Schoen's in the house. Everybody, thank you guys for being here. In terms of this game, I think that I because of the emergence of Dearness Johnson as a legitimate, I don't know if I would call him a 1, but I would call him like a 1A, So with the emergence of Dearness Johnson being able to step in there like he did against the Broncos. By the way, when Dearness stepped up in against the Broncos, that was without Baker Mayfield. That was with Case Keenum, right? So if you've got the full complement of the offense without the distraction of OBJ, with Dearness Johnson, I guess with the guy from the practice squad coming up playing second fiddle on the running back position, Stefanski said that he would even consider Jarvis Landry doing some stuff in the running back position today. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I mean, when we're a team that's used to carrying 4 running backs, and now we're carrying 2.5, it's going to be an interesting. I hope there's going to be some creativity. I hope we don't burn out the Dearness in the first half. God forbid we have any injuries, but the bottom line today, guys, I think we have a better team. I think we have more talent. I think we proved that we can go into a stadium against a good team and win like we did last week. But the end of the day, the biggest thing, I am telling you guys right now, my biggest key to this game is penalties. We have got to stop with the unforced errors, the pre-snap penalties. I swear to God, if we have another lining up in the neutral zone type penalty, I am going to throw my phone through my screen. It's the most frustrating thing in the world to see us do that kind of crap. And it's one of the reasons why we're one of the most penalized team. And I think we're probably still the most penalized team in terms of yards in the league. It's very frustrating. Yep. So no dumb penalties. Andrew, I'm with you 100% on that. And we just need to get this thing going on, right? So with that, let me see if my...
Oof.
There we go. We got the dog check going. Did that come through, Mike and Dad? Did the dog check come through on the speakers?
Oh yeah, I barked right after it.
I
Yep.
heard you, Dad. Did you hear the dog check?
It was low.
It was low.
You could jack it up a little bit.
Oh, I could turn. Okay.
Yeah, it was much lower than my bark.
Okay. I have to. I'm still playing with the old audio stuff. I'm playing with it all, but I will one day have the audio all figured out.
Well, you're almost there. I mean, you're close to dialing that bad boy in.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like the Wednesday show was rough.
Yeah, I mean, like if you go back to Spinal Tap and it was 11, you're probably at about a 4.5. So you got room to grow.
Okay,
but it was nice.
Let's take a look at the injury report that I had up, and now I don't have it up anymore. Let's go over to topic number 2 today. Injury report front, we've got a questionable Greedy Williams.
Yeah, he is out.
He is officially out.
Yep, he's out. McKinley's out. The Count's out. Fields out. Bradley's out, and Day is out.
And they waived Billings.
Yep. So to GI, I think I pronounced that right. We'll get his first playing time of the year. So that'll be interesting.
I know nothing about him.
Yeah, from Ohio State.
I don't either.
I mean, the way Billings played, I mean, you could throw the three of us out there, tape us all together, and I think we'd probably play better. We'd at least have the size, right?
What a disappointment. I mean, he was one of those guys in the beginning of the season that I was looking forward to the most. And I'd love to know what it was. I mean, he was a guy who sat out all of last year. He took the COVID, the COVID out clause last year.
Yep.
And sat and got paid for it. And then this year he ends up making the team, goes through the stuff, and just is one of the least productive guys that we had on the team. It was like him and OBJ, like the two,
Yeah, it'd be interesting
two least
to see if
productive guys.
anybody picks him up, whether he just slides all the way through.
Don't know. It's a good question. In terms of the injury front and then we get JOK back, which is the big deal, right? As Mike was saying, who knows how long he's going to be, or how many snaps he's going to get. Hopefully quite a few, because we know we've kind of figured out the formula for like the Mac Wilson of the world, getting him 15, 16 snaps as his limit. He plays exceptionally well, or I guess exceptionally well in terms of what Mac Wilson can do. But JOK is a guy that we want to have out there for 40, 50 snaps if possible.
Right.
From the New England Patriots side, we have a doubtful did not practice Jamie Collins Sr., the
He
ex-Brown.
is out.
He is out. Damian Harris,
Out.
Gunnar Ozleski, pronounce
Him I don't know, but the other big one that I do know is Stevenson is a go.
Okay, concussion on Stevenson is a go. He did not practice all week, but
Yep,
he's a go.
he's a go.
I mean, the concussion protocol is ridiculous. Jake Bailey, the punter, was limited. So there's a bunch of guys that are questionable. Jake Bailey, Juwan Bentley, Nick Folk. They're both their kicker and punter are questionable tonight.
Another big one, Jonnu Smith inactive. So
Ooh, okay, so tight end is inactive.
you're just looking at Hunter Henry.
N'Keal Harry was questionable. I guess he'll go.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about him.
Hightower.
So I didn't see anything about him either yet.
Okay, Shaq Mason, Jalen Mills. I mean, they have this is the first game that I've seen an opponent who has a longer list of doubtful, questionable out guys than us. And that's not even truly fair because on the injury report, they don't list all the COVID guys. So, and actually I don't know if this is correct or not, but there is a COVID website that tracks all the players. They had John Kelly listed as Ryan Kelly. So I don't know if it was a typo or not, but either way, it would have been nice if we would have got to Ernest Johnson and John Kelly, or Ernest Johnson and Demetric Felton like we did against the Broncos. But nope, we have to go full hard mode today against the Patriots.
You know what's interesting is, and I'm not saying that our offensive line is at this point yet, but I mean they're pretty darn close, and I think you would agree. But I mean, you go back in time when I was a young man, and you look at the '92 Cowboys. I mean, with that offensive line, it didn't matter if it was Emmitt Smith running that year or it was Curvin Richards. those guys open holes. If there's some talent in the backfield, they're gonna get their yards, and I think that's what we're going to be looking at with Dearness today. I mean, like you said, I mean, he's a 1A. He could start on other teams. I don't care what the national pundits say about, it's everybody thinks that after their backup plays the way they did or whatever. We see Dearness all the time. We've seen him in preseason. We've seen him in games.
Yep.
We know how he plays. So I think with the offensive line the way they are, and now this is a couple of games with them all back together. I know Conklin's out, but Hans has gotten comfortable over on the right side. So, I mean, they're going to do what they do. They're going to blow open holes, and Dearness Johnson is talented. I don't want to say talented enough because he's a very talented guy, and I believe he's going to get his yards. So I'm not too concerned. And it's funny, right? Could you imagine like a couple of years ago saying, "Oh, Chubb's not going. Oh, and by the way, you guys also have Kareem Hunt, and he's not playing." We'd be in like full blown panic mode. But the way the offensive line is and the way they've been playing, we're okay.
If Baker makes some completions, it'll open up the running game, and vice versa. If Johnson can make a couple of runs, the play action is going to free up the receivers.
Yeah.
I just hope they move Baker around. They don't keep him in the pocket, those 10-step drops and padding the football as he's trying to find an open receiver. And then, either he runs or he gets sacked. And neither one are good options for us. So if they, the quick drops, the screen passes, the plays out into the flat, screen to the tight end. I mean, all the plays that we've seen that they work successfully, with Johnson in there, he can do it. And hopefully whoever needs to step up besides, Johnson will do that. And just, hope Baker gets through the game, has a good game, doesn't get hurt, and, plays a good, consistent game.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I'm how concerned I am about anybody not playing or from an offensive standpoint. I think we saw last week that although we did have Nick Chubb last week, I think we showed that Baker is going to do what this offense was designed to do, which is not feature one particular player, but spread it around and just feel consistent. That it doesn't matter if it's Harrison Bryant getting 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, or if it's DPJ or if it's dumping off to a running back. I mean, it is everybody shares the wealth kind of offense. And I'm really, honestly, I'm interested to see, now that we've paid Wyatt Teller, now that we paid Bitonio, if they're coming out there going, hey, these game checks are going to be a little heftier, right? So let's go out there and show the world like we're worth every penny. But I think the bottom line to this game, because the Patriots are a team to be respected, they absolutely should. However, if we can limit the penalties, we don't have any scary injuries or anything like that, all the jinxy stuff, right? If we can not have that stuff happen, I think we're going to be in good shape. I really do. I think we're a better team. I feel comfortable going into this game. I think we're like a 2.5-point dog right now, something like that. Very similar to what we were last week. If I was a betting man, which I am not about sports, but if I were, I would take the Browns and the points all day today. I think we're going to win the game outright.
We win the turnover game, that'll be big as well. Those 3 turnovers we got last week were key. And if you can be a +3 on turnovers, or even, as long as we're not negative, we should be very competitive. We should be in the game. And I'm not looking for a nail biter all the way down to the 4th quarter like we typically do, but hopefully, we have a comfortable lead that we can sit on a little bit and run the clock. But the turnovers are key. And like you said, Mike, the penalties, eliminate the stupid penalties.
Right on.
And an interesting active for us. So we've got both fullbacks active today. So look for a lot of heavy run personnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what we're doing to compensate for, for Felton and Kelly and Nick being out, and obviously Kareem.
Yeah, if we can run the ball, then we have long drives, 12, 13, 14 play drives that eat up the clock. and that keep their offense off the field. And that's a prescription for winning. So let's hope we can do that too.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really interested in seeing today is, it took 9 weeks or 8, we could say, for Woods to realize, hey, I've got good man press corners. Let's start playing a little bit more man, and he did, and he acknowledged it. So I'm curious to see if he sticks to his guns, or we see more of that zone defense. I'm looking. I think at this point we're going to see more man. He understands. So that's one of the takeaways I'll be looking for today.
Well, I mean, that was the big criticism, right? I mean, we drafted all these defensive backs early on. We drafted a secondary. Our secondary is like mostly first round picks or first and second round picks, right? Like let them use their athleticism. I mean, so we're let's going around the AFC North. So this is something that I want to talk about a lot, because I thought this was a fascinating game that the Dolphins put on against the Ravens. They put pressure on Lamar the whole damn game,
Right.
all the way down to the final drive where Lamar ended up throwing the interception. But my Lord, I mean, they did not give up. They didn't go to prevent. They didn't even go back to a standard offense. And I was talking to my dad yesterday about this. Lamar Jackson is an unconventional player. And I think what the Dolphins proved on Thursday night was, when you have an unconventional player, you have to play an unconventional defense. You can't go and play your regular 4-3 bullshit and then wait for a guy like Lamar, because he's going to pick you apart. Like, he is not a human being that was designed to be kept in check with a standard conventional defense, because he is the opposite of that. He is Superman out there.
Yeah, he was confident the whole first quarter. With the first drive, they stopped them then, and they got the ball back, and they were driving again. And then Miami stopped them the second time. Tucker missed a field goal, which, after he made the first one, he misses a 48er.
Yeah.
Which then gave Miami more life, and it kept them in the game. And normally I'm in bed by 9:30. I watched the first half, and then I get up early the next morning and watch the game to its conclusion. And I kept saying, well, I'm going to watch until they start losing, until Miami starts losing. They blow it, they give it up, or Jackson makes some stupid play and he runs for 90 yards and gets a touchdown. And it never happened. They kept putting the pressure on. They kept getting him sacked, and they made him throw early, and he made some horrible throws. I mean, he missed guys, and then they tried to run it around the end and up the middle, and they couldn't. The defense just stepped up and made play after play after play. And I wound up winning, watching the whole game till midnight. I mean, it was just, it was a real, and I'm in a pick'em league with like 85 players. And I was one of 4 that picked the Dolphins to win. So I am one game up on,
and I try to tell you not to.
Yeah, I know.
We were talking earlier, and I was like, Dad, I don't think you should take the Dolphins. I think that's a really dumb bet. I was like, this is one of the reasons why, guys, I don't sports bet, because I'm wrong constantly.
Well, I'm wrong a lot too, but I hate rooting for them. I'm taking the Lions over Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Before Rosenberger and Claypool were out, I'm taking them because I figured they gotta play well one week. I mean, they almost had Baltimore, except for a 68-yard field goal. So they're due. And I'm hoping today is the day. I hope Rudolph does not play well, and that puts them one game down, and we take care of business today ourselves.
Yeah, and 2 points for Baltimore and the Steelers today. One being, to your guys' points, I love what they did down in Miami. The only thing I could say, if I played devil's advocate, is I wish that game would have been played somewhere where it wasn't hot and humid, to where you could say, well, was that a factor? So while I do think that they laid the blueprint. There's part of me that wonders, did the humidity have something to do with it? So I do. I wish it was somewhere, with a little bit better weather. But
I've lived in Florida for like 20 years now, and Aaron Andrews was complaining about the humidity. Everybody was, and the field looked a little messy, right? But I don't know. I mean, I think they got to him.
Oh yeah,
And
90% blitzing and not getting burned. They did not get burned once. Lamar ran, I think his longest was 12 yards.
It's amazing.
He did not throw one over the top of them, despite that, because he didn't have that much time. He literally did not have that much time to sit there and let somebody get 20 yards down, then throw the pass so it's 40 yards down. And I think he had one in the end zone where he overthrew the guy, but he was pressured a little bit at the end. He had to step up. He heaved it, and he heaved it so far. The guy didn't even really make an attempt to catch it. It was so deep in the end zone. But it was a blueprint for how you, at least until you get burned anyway, put the pressure on him.
And the other point that I had that now goes to the Pittsburgh game is, I don't know if anybody saw the report this morning, but apparently he had symptoms and he went to the team to let them know. Then they gave him the test, and then he tested positive, and then the rest is history. But Schefter was talking about how, that was the mature and proper way of how the protocol works. And I just chuckled at that because, it only took him 38, 39 years to figure out how to be a good human. So,
yeah. And also he took all the snaps, I think, during the week.
Yeah.
So Rudolph doesn't, he's going in cold. He hasn't played a lot, and he didn't get the snaps. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they get through that first quarter, maybe the first half, to see whether Rudolph is okay or whether he's going to struggle. Maybe the Lions make a pick or get a fumble, or maybe finally, they put their offense together and they score some points.
Yeah.
But the longer that it stays close, the better I like the Lions' chances.
For everyone out there that loves statistics, I'll throw this out. If the Browns win today, according to the ESPN FPI, they have a 68% chance to make the playoffs, and New England has a 39%. If the Browns lose, that number is almost evenly flip-flopped. We have a 38% chance of making it, and they have a 71% chance of getting in. So we knew it's a, has playoff implications written all over it. It's do or die. I know it's early, but still, I mean, the Ravens losing brought the division back a little bit closer to us. And these are the games that you have to go out, and as gritty as it could be, you go out, you win the game.
Yeah.
Mike, is it a tiebreaker as far as a heads up match goes? If we wind up with the same record as the Patriots and we've beat them, do we get the nod then, or vice versa?
Yep.
Okay, good. So it has playoff implications, not only now but down the road as well.
Any AFC game against a team that's with a winning record is going to be a fairly important one. I mean, look at the Broncos. The Broncos are back to 5-4.
Right.
They're competitive. That division's just as tight as ours, if not tighter. It's the interesting thing about the NFL this year. I felt like last year it was feast or famine. Like the NFC East was just trash. I mean, they're not that much better this year, but they're not, horrendous. Yeah. Other than the Lions, right, and maybe the Texans, but I would say the Lions specifically. There's a lot of parity this season, which is good to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of upsets. I just can't pick them from week to week with the pick 'em week stuff, but it's nice to to really pick the dark horse on Thursday night. It was a pleasure both ways, both for my pick'em as well as to see Baltimore go down in flames against a team that they were counting on beating, hands down. And it didn't happen. You could see the frustration on Harbaugh's face the entire game. He was just looking for answers, and he never had it. And in the past, all this season, Baltimore has found a way in the fourth quarter to come back from double digits and beat people with unbelievable comebacks. And they just were not capable of doing it because the Jets were relentless. They poured it on. I give credit to their coach. He took out the quarterback and put Tua in, who didn't light it up initially, but he stuck with him. And he made the plays that he needed to make, including throwing that down, that sideline pass at the very end of the game that went for like 40 or 50 yards.
Yeah.
When they were, typically a team, let's run the ball, let's run the clock, let's make them use their timeouts. And then he comes out of there and Tua looked good. He recognized it right away. I don't know, safety was on the other side of the field, had to come all the way across. And it took him a good 15 yards of running to catch up to him to knock him out of bounds. I thought it was going to go all the way. But the safety had the angle on him and knocked him out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was interesting that he went back to Tua. I don't think, I don't think Tua passes the smell test. I don't think he has the arm strength. I don't think he certainly doesn't have the confidence. And it was, he was missing guys. When he missed bad. But, when he also, found a way to win. And I think a lot of times in the NFL, to get your confidence, if you're a young quarterback, you have to be able to do that. You have to. So good on them. Thank you, Dolphins, for,
Right.
the
Absolutely.
Dolphins were 2-7 at the time, taking on the 6-2 Ravens. And they figured out a way to do it. They weren't intimidated by Lamar Jackson. They came with a game plan.
Right.
And I think that should show Joe Woods what you have to do.
Right. You hit it on the head, Mike. You have to your job is to come up with a way to win the game against a non-traditional type of quarterback that can kill you with his arm, his legs, etc. A good running game, although they were down a couple of running backs. But still, they had wide receivers. They got a good defense. They were flat, both on offense and defense. And you got to give all the credit in the world to Miami. That's what a coach is supposed to do from week to week.
Yeah.
Come up with the unique. And let's hope Stefanski comes up with a little bit of that. Belichick is going to do that. He's done it for 30 years. But he also had Brady for 25 of them.
Yeah.
So he's got to be even a little bit more creative. He doesn't have to worry about our running game as much as if Chubb was in there and Hunt was behind him. So he's got that to play with. But Belichick is not going to sit there and just take it. He is going to have a couple of tricks up his sleeve and a game plan that makes sense, that they've worked on. That if they can execute, they will beat us. And we need to execute on our side. And if we do, we'll beat them. So it's going to be a good game.
Yeah. Looking at Mac Jones, he is a fairly accurate quarterback, 68% completion percentage. But he's got a very low average, so 7.1 yards. They don't let him throw downfield that often.
Right.
In terms of yards per game, 243, which is less than Baker. Baker's got 251, and Baker hasn't necessarily been lighting it up in terms of his yards production. He's thrown 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So, he's going to make mistakes. We're going to get opportunities to pick the ball off today. And looking at the New England schedule, so they've played they played the Dolphins and lost 17-16. So one of those wins that one of those 3 wins the Dolphins had was against the Patriots in New England to start off the season. Then they beat the crap out of the Jets 25-6. Then they lost 28-13 to the Saints. Then they lost to the Buccaneers 19-17 in a close one in New England. They barely beat the Texans 25-22. The one in forever Texans. They got beat by the Cowboys in overtime 35-29. They beat the living crap out of the Jets again 54-13.
Right.
They beat the Chargers, which is one of those kind of head-to-head matchups that we could look at, 27-24, and then last week easily beating the Panthers. So they're on a little bit of a run right now. They've got a 3-game winning streak coming into this game. They beat the Panthers 24-6. But they're a beatable team. They're a very beatable team.
Sure.
And if we can put pressure on Mac Jones and force him to do things, we are going to be in a fairly good position to win this game. I'm hoping that we come out strong like we did last week, and we get up big and kind of coast like we somewhat did against the Bengals.
Yeah,
That's rare.
Yeah, I think the key is going to be the first quarter to show whether the guys are motivated, they're up for the game. Baker's on, so I think I'm going to take away a lot from that first quarter. Can we get a drive together? Can we put points on the board? Can we avoid the mistakes, and vice versa? Can the defense step up, especially if we score? Can we get off the field and have a 3 and out, that type of thing? So the tone is going to be set by that first quarter.
Yeah, Mike. What about you? What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts going into this one as well? I know we talked a little bit, but I've been occupying the mic for a long time, so I want to bring you back in.
So I think they win the game. I've gone back and forth on the score. I think it's a 27-17 type of game. I personally think that if Woods schemes it the way that he has the past couple of games, especially last game, there's nobody on the Patriots side catching the ball that scares me. Hunter Henry is not the player that he was for the Chargers as he is on New England. He's been pedestrian the whole year. Jock coming back, we don't know how many snaps he will get. I know I bugged somebody in the chat earlier, so I'm sorry, JOK, the Joker, Jock. He's got many names, but anyway, depending on how many snaps he's going to play, he'll probably be more than likely locked onto who the tight end is, and I think that fares well for us. But I'm not overly concerned about Mac Jones. I think we get pressure on him. Let's face it, he's a dink and dunk kind of guy. I mean, he's young, he's a rookie. He's finding his way, but I think that he's going to find Myles Garrett quite a few times today. And from the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they're solid. They're ball hawk type of defense. But I just think if our offensive line is on, if they could limit the pre-snap penalties, I think offensively we'll be okay. We'll be able to run the ball. We'll be able to run it well enough that we can then turn around and throw some play action at them and confuse them. And I think they win the game. I think that we're at a point in the season, I said it earlier, where we're getting healthier and they're starting to understand, especially from Joe Wood's standpoint. He's seen the product week over week, and he understands where his strengths are at this point. He understands where his weaknesses are. And then I believe that last week he finally played to those strengths. And, we saw a really nice defense. And then, you throw Jeremiah in there and forget about it. I mean, I feel like we're going to start seeing some rattling off some wins. I think they're peaking at the right time. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. And you could pencil me in at 27-17 Browns.
27-17. Okay. I think you're right, Mike. I think that this is the somewhat soft part of the schedule, I guess you could say. After we had 3 tough games, the Vikings, Chargers, and Cardinals. Then we come back against the Broncos, which was kind of a little bit more of a layup for us. Although no Baker, no Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt in that game. We ended up winning in primetime. We're very good on Thursday night. I like the Thursday night games. We laid the egg against the Steelers, a game that we were all at, unfortunately. But if you think about just the what we're looking at early in the season with the Chiefs, it was like a little tight in the early part of the season. Right here in the middle, we have to get these wins. We took care of business against the Bengals, which is good, saving face in the division. The Patriots, Lions have to be 2 games that we win, because like we were talking about before in the AFC North, it's just airtight. There's no room for any more mistakes.
Yeah, we gotta score. If you look at our season so far, and even going into last year, when we score points, we win games. The only exception was the Charger game, where it was a shootout, and defense didn't play well. But with our defense playing better, and we score points like we did last week, 41, 44, we missed a field goal, a makeable field goal. That's the key to us winning. If we score 10 points today, we lose the game. Even if we score 17, we lose the game. So we have to find a way, or not even find a way. We just have to play our game and score points. And that puts a lot of pressure on Jones to try to make it up. They're losing 14-0. They're going to throw the ball more. They're not going to run the ball, and it's going to play right into our hands. So if Baker has a good game, the receivers have a good game, and then the defense can get off the field, get some turnovers. It could be a cakewalk. I think it's going to be 35-20 is what I predict.
35-20. Wow, I mean, that would be a fantastic game.
We,
so
we
you
write this down, yeah.
Yeah, 35-20. So you've got
20.
Mike. What are you? 17-10.
27-17.
27-17. Okay, so we're scoring points. So I'm going to go on the opposite side then, since you guys are going big. I'm going to say 13-6. Brown.
13-6. Wow.
I'm going 13.
Defensive
I'm
battle.
going 13-6.
13-6. Mike,
And
if we score 13, we lose.
How many innings do you think that'll go?
And the 6, by the way, is going to be the 6 is a touchdown and missed extra point.
Wow, you're going out on a limb.
Right.
Like
And
it.
ours is going to be a touchdown and 2 field goals. And that's how it goes down today.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm almost never right on these predictions, by the way. So it's actually a good thing that I do this, because it's probably going to be closer. Mike, I think you're fairly accurate. You're fairly close each week on your predictions from when I.
At one week, I was really close, but I do believe if we went back and looked through it, I'm almost certain that there was a game where you were almost dead on as well earlier in the season. I could be wrong, but I for some strange reason I remember you being pretty close on a score.
Yeah, I might have been on one. I
can't think of which one it is though.
Once in a rainy day, I get one pretty close.
Let's hear from Chat. Let's see.
Yeah, chat. Give us your score predictions. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
this is a good time.
Chatty agrees with me. I like it.
This is a good time to also give a shout out to everybody who happens to be here, and head over to dogwoofs.com to get yourself in the giveaway. I want to see right now there are 28 total entries in the giveaway.
Oh, very nice.
So you have a 1 in 28 chance of winning the Guy Named Blake t-shirt from Sabo Apparel, a t-shirt that I own and happens to be one of my favorite ones because it's not like a blatantly Browns t-shirt. I mean, it's obviously the colors and you got a football player in the middle, but it's kind of like a subtle nod to the Browns with this Sabo Apparel shirt. Sabo Apparel is a great company. They've been a proud partner or just friend of the show for a couple years now. And I want to give them as much love as possible. They are a veteran-owned small business in Northeast Ohio. And just really, the guy who runs it, the guy Brian, is just a really, really nice guy. And Proud to support him. He gives us a t-shirt to give away every week, and I think it's awesome. So
Yeah, let's hope we can give away a Monday morning.
the Victory Monday,
Cup.
right? And for everybody here, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed and hit the alert button. On Wednesdays when we win, we give away a Victory Monday mug. Last week it went to Lynn Savage, who some of you guys, she's very active on Twitter, happened to come in and won the mug. So yeah, and we're getting into deep fall now. We're getting deep. Well, I would say we're getting deeper into fall. I wouldn't quite call it deep fall yet.
Well, let me ask you this question: as we approach Wednesday, are we that much closer to the deep fall that I need to break the t-shirt out?
I think the deep fall t-shirt comes out. So after Thanksgiving, is that considered winter?
No, because December 21st, if I'm not mistaken, is the first day of winter.
Okay, so I think then
Tell that to the people up in Green Bay. You see
for the snow
up there? It looks brutal up there.
Nice.
Yeah, they skipped there. I'd be SOL if we lived up in Green Bay. We would have just went right past the deep fall t-shirt. I have to put it back in the drawer.
Yeah. I think the first official day of deep fall should be Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. We then enter the deep.
So what if
got all those tag flag football games on Sunday or on Thursday, Thanksgiving morning that typically have good weather and it's sunny but then after that it gets. I remember, Mike, when you played in high school football, one of your playoff games at the Hershey Park Stadium. It was December 3rd, and it was freezing cold.
Oh. I think I had the flu that game too.
Oh God, it was. I couldn't believe how cold it was on December 3rd, and that was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I can't imagine what it's like in Minnesota or Green Bay or any of those.
It was interesting though. I'll tell you, like a couple weeks ago, I was out in Denver, and it was warm, sweatshirt weather, and then we went up to Cleveland for the last game, the Pittsburgh game, and we were taking off layers because it was just brutal hot up in our seating, and then we come back down to Orlando, and Orlando's freezing cold.
Right. Yeah.
So there's wild weather all over this country, but we're getting closer and closer to the deep fall, which is a special time for us
really
here
is.
at the Brownie Post Game Show.
And I'm going to go with Isaiah. He wants me to break it out the week of Thanksgiving. So the week of Thanksgiving, Wednesday show, I will be donned in my deep fall t-shirt.
And if you guys want to get a deep fall t-shirt for yourself, a Brownie Postgame deep fall t-shirt, they're on browniepostgame.com. Just go to the merch section. I'm the only one. I have the original deep fall t-shirt, which is like, so this year, just for everybody, all the t-shirts that are on browniepostgame.com right now in the merch section, they're all American Apparel. So they're all like high-end, like nice fabric, nice cotton poly blends. They're high-end fabric. Because I originally, when I was putting these t-shirts up, I was trying to make them as cheap as possible, like $11, and they were garbage. So, I mean, you wear them one time, you put them in the washer, they shrink down 3 sizes, you can't wear them again. So they're all really, really good. They're true to form and everything. So if you want a deep fall shirt, if you want just a regular Brownie Post Game shirt, they're all up there. I don't have any profit on margin. I try to make it as cheap as possible. I just bring the slider down to 0. So we're not making any money on those shirts. I just want you to have them and wear them and do what you will with them.
Would be cool if we were all in our deep fall shirt on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I might have to pick up one of the new ones. I don't know how quickly I'd get it, but I might have to pick up one of the new ones just because they're nicer. I mean, I do have I have a beige one that actually says deep fall on the top of it. So I might have to break that one out.
The original.
Mike, do you have a fireplace in Delaware?
I do.
Oh, good. Well, we need to see you in the t-shirt in front of the fire with a drink and a bourbon,
You know what? I will set it up. I will sit right in front of it on the what do they call it?
Stockings hung there on the
like a warm cider alcohol drink.
Is it the hearth, right? The hearth that you sit on?
Yeah, the hearth, yeah.
The hearth, yeah. So I'll sit on there. I've got I've got my pumpkin display with the candles in there. I'll take a really nice.
With a fire. Do you have like a bearskin rug?
I don't, but I could see what I can do.
It's just a bearskin rug laying on your side with your with
like
the
George Costanza on the
Wednesday
couch.
show mug. Yeah. Costanza. Oh man. Yeah, so this is we're entering silly season here, guys.
We are.
in Brownie post game land. Yeah, so if anybody, these are some inside jokes that we talk about on the Wednesday show. But I will tell you guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And there's still some time left on the dogwoofs.com t-shirt giveaway. We're gonna do that next here in a second because we are T-minus less than 30 minutes till kickoff. This is when the crowd
to go.
Yeah, crowd typically starts really trickling in at this point. So we'll give everybody a couple more minutes to get signed up for the giveaway. And then, looking on after that, after this one, we've got the Lions coming up on the 21st. So what time do the Lions play the Steelers today? Is that a 1 o'clock game?
Yeah, 1 o'clock. We'll be watching the ticker underneath the Browns game for all those 1 o'clock games. But that's one I'm going to be watching real close and hoping that the longer the Lions hang around and the more pressure they put on Rudolph, the more I'm liking it.
And you know what? The Lions gave the Ravens a close game. It was 19-17.
Right.
That was a close game there.
68-yard field goal.
Right. So, who knows?
Some kid last night, yesterday, kicked a 62-yarder, I think, for Texas Tech to win the game, and they went nuts. So, where these guys are coming up with the leg, I don't know if they're maybe doing some more exercising in the weight room or whatever. But these guys, used to be ungodly. The longest one was 62 yards for
forever.
Yeah, for a long time.
I remember when I was a kid, they
straight on kicker too.
Yeah, you didn't. It was the guy with a half a foot, right?
Right. Yeah, from the Saints.
He didn't have toes.
Yeah, he kicked like Lou Groza of Lou the Toe.
What was his name? Was Tom something? I want to say Tom Moore, but that's not right.
Chad, if you can help us out with who the kicker was with half a foot, please.
How about,
I don't feel like Googling it. Right
then
now.
You remember when we went through the 80s with was it Mark Mosley that went sockless?
Yeah.
For the Red Sox.
The Vikings had a guy who was shoeless.
There were a couple of them, right? Yeah. Shoeless and sockless.
And they used to do it in the snow too.
Yeah.
They didn't put on the shoes in the snow.
One of the teams, college teams last week lost their kicker. And so before, they lost him the week before and they had nobody. So the coach went on the internet and let it be known that they're encouraging walk-ons to come out. Anybody in the university that can kick a football, girls, guys, you name it, soccer players,
come out there and kick. Wow.
Come out there and kick. I remember Sheets, kicking, for Hershey back in the day.
One of my best friends when he was in middle school was hitting 45-yard field goals.
Yeah, he had a leg on him.
Oh, monster!
Wasn't that consistent, but he had a leg.
Yeah, I was trying to get him when he went to Purdue. I tried to get him to try out, just to go and try out for the football team because it would have been fun. He was like, I want nothing. Yeah. I want nothing to do with that. Sure. But he definitely had the he had the talent all day. And then the Bengals are on a bye this week.
Yeah, they are.
They come back next week against the Raiders, who are in kind of a flux type situation in the Raiders. I don't know what quite's going on there because they have
a big game for them. They play the Chiefs, and I think they're in Vegas. So
they play the Chiefs tough. They are not intimidated by the Chiefs.
If they have a good game, as opposed to they didn't show up against the Giants last week. That was a disaster, which really surprised me. But if they show up today and they beat the Chiefs, then they're gonna give the Bengals a hard time. And where's that game, Mike? Is it in Vegas?
The Raiders Chiefs?
No,
It's-
I know that's in Vegas.
Oh yeah, the Bengals play in Vegas.
Yeah, so it's tough to play at that altitude. You really have to get there early and adjust a little bit, because you're certainly gassed, going into the third and fourth quarter.
In Vegas?
No,
Is
yeah,
altitude there?
I was thinking about Denver. I was thinking
Oh
about
yeah.
Denver.
I will tell you, I have had to go to Denver for work, and I'm actually going back next week. And I was having a really hard time breathing there.
Yeah,
And I've been to Colorado several times, and even up in the mountains, and I didn't have as hard a time breathing as I did in my hotel room. When I was there last time. So I always thought it was like, yeah, whatever. No, it's legit. Like
that's a big advantage for
Oh,
Denver to have that on every home game like that.
Imagine if Denzel Ward would have returned a
Oh.
pick for.
He'd still be taking oxygen.
Oh, he
Right.
would. He would have to get he'd have to get like adrenaline shots. His heart might have stopped. So, yeah, God, that was so funny when he returns the kick and then immediately go over there. He was gassed. He was gassed at the 20-yard line. If
Then
they would have
they're-
been pursuing him.
Yeah,
He
and then
took
on our
oxygen
couch
for
going, "What are you doing?
all-
Get in there!"
He
Yeah.
took oxygen for a long time. He missed 3/4 of the next
Yeah,
defensive.
they said he was out for like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that is that. If I'm the coaches and I see that, I'm like, dude, get on the Peloton, get on the treadmill. How is
Right.
your endurance that bad that you can't run 100 yards
Right.
at full sprint? I mean, I get it. It's not an easy thing to do. I certainly couldn't do it, or I don't know, maybe I could, but not after like playing defense that whole time. It's not like he just came in for that one play. He was probably already around 70, 75, maybe 80% tops from an endurance standpoint, having played that whole drive. But yeah, I'd be like, dude, Denzel, hop on the treadmill, bud. I know he's got one in his house. I've seen it in videos. So get on there and run with shoes on, because he runs without his shoes on the treadmill. It bothers me.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be the next one to get money too, Mike. What do you think what are you hearing, I should say, from your insiders? By the way, everybody who's here, if you just follow Mike on Twitter, he gives you all the information that other people you have to pay $2.99 a month for. So you might as well just follow Mike and get it for free. But Mike, what are you hearing about Denzel? Contract negotiations. Maybe who's next? Is it Baker? Is it Denzel? Is it who?
Yeah, so they've been talking to Denzel's people probably since the summertime. So it's my understanding that he will get a deal. As far as if he's next in line, I know they value Njoku as well. So I would look to see those two get a deal prior to Baker's deal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, how interesting was it that they went, and as soon as OBJ hit the market, it was like bing bang, sign Teller, sign Batonio, lock him up. We've got Wills on a rookie deal. Treader, we got some time left on his deal as well, right?
And you wonder if, and you and I have talked about this, but I really strongly feel that if he doesn't tear his ACL last year, he's gone before the new league year starts. I feel that was the plan. I've heard that was the plan. So then at that point, then you think about,
You're saying OBJ.
Yeah. Then you think of the timeline of where everybody would have gotten their extensions at that point, if we would be, a few guys further along. But to your point, as soon as he was gone, it was like, okay, we got some money freed up for next year. Let's lock these guys up. And they did. And totally, well, I guess it does have to do with the OBJ front now, and I'm tired of talking about him, but there wasn't a report that came out this morning that the Steelers made a late effort push to land OBJ. But at that point, he was pretty much made up his mind, signed, sealed, and delivered to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to come back against us and be on Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Yeah.
I there's too much downside for him to do that. and there's too much upside, especially with Woods getting hurt or Wood on LA. Now he's almost forced into playing a lot on Sunday or Monday against the 49ers. And if he can help them win, more power to him. It's a win-win for everybody, especially if we win today and Baker has a good game. I think, the speculation or the thought of getting Baker settled, if he wins today and he wins convincingly and has another back-to-back game, high scoring, a lot of touchdowns, no turnovers, then I think he moves up the depth chart to get him squared away. The sooner they get that done, the better. If he has a bad game, then, all the scuttlebutt will be about, we're going to hold off. We're going to wait. We're going to see if we make the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm hoping he has a good game and we can put one more thing behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, God, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm getting very spicy towards the OBJ situation. Not to drag it out any further, because Mike, I'm with you. It's getting annoying, but I will tell you, now anytime he does anything, then the media picks up on it. They're writing all these articles. I mean, that stupid handwritten note was in I couldn't get it out of my Twitter timeline.
I know.
I'm scrolling through, and it's like every media person, every user. I'm like, I get it, but it wasn't. The big thing about it was what he should have come out and said, and I would have given him a lot of respect, and I would have taken it all back if he would have been like, you know what? If he would have in some way said, hey, I apologize. I did not mean to have it come off like it did, where it was me against Baker. I respect him. I think he's going to do great. He's a friend. And, I apologize for any emotional distress or harm that caused and blah, blah, blah. And I've talked to my dad about it, and I told him that I thought it was inappropriate. It's just something.
I agree with you, and I'll take it a step further. I get it. People put out letters when they leave or whatever. Again, he's more of a celebrity than he is a football player in my mind until he proves me, otherwise. But there's no denying he's an international celebrity. I mean, there's no question about it. And it all started with that catch, and then he built his brand and the Drake video, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, Clay Matthews types writes you a letter saying thank you for the time, et cetera. Or I could even go like for someone that's on this team right now, like a Rashard Higgins that that he really loves the city of Cleveland. He's made sacrifices in the contract to come back and be here. So to me, titling it, first of all, the handwritten, I mean, you're not fooling me. I mean, you're fooling some of the people on Twitter that are telling me, oh, I'm in tears or whatever. I mean, come on. But the whole Believe Land thing, bogus. And the portion about, I'm sorry, my goal was to bring a championship here or whatever. People write those type of letters like the Joe Schoberts of the world that gave their heart and soul, and then the contract was up and the team didn't feel like they were worth the money they were asking, and then they let them go. And then that letter comes about, hey, I really tried to bring a championship. You don't write that when you forced your way off the team in the middle of week 9. Like, that's bogus to me. Like, if you really were heartfelt and wanted to bring a championship to the city of Cleveland, you wouldn't have sabotaged or tried to sabotage the team in the middle of the season. So, if he was going to write a letter, hey, sorry it didn't work out. I wish everybody the best of luck. It was a great experience up until the time it ended. Peace. And I would have been okay with it. But the stuff that was in there is just, maybe that gets other people off. But for me, that was that was just, his publicist told him to do it.
Yeah, Dad, did you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the letter. Like I said at the beginning, I'm glad this Monday is coming where he puts on the uniform of the Rams, and every shot you'll see from this point on, unless he starts dropping some, then they'll compare it to the drops he had with the Browns. Mm-hmm. But all the shots in the future, if they talk about OBJ, it'll be in a Rams uniform, and we won't have to deal with it. So.
Right on. And yeah, Mike, I actually think that was really an interesting take. I almost just look at it. I get more offended by the fact that he went after Baker in the way he did, because I think it was almost like a celebrity, which is, it's uncommon. It's uncommon to see this, but it's almost like a celebrity version of cyberbullying.
He'll fit right in Hollywood and LA and
almost definitely.
He'll just,
what bothers me about it though, the whole thing is the fans that are still oogling over OBJ. Like like Mike, you said, he's a celebrity athlete now. Like he's going to be on Dancing with the Stars at some point. He's going to fight Jake Paul at some point. I mean, that's what OBJ is. That's what it is. And I think he's a shell of what he was in 2015. He's not that guy anymore. And, although he looks like he's very much in shape, the bottom line is the difference between a guy like, who would you say, like Jamar Chase, right? Or another guy who's just at the top of his game, who's young. Who would you say is another guy who's just like an absolute stud? Maybe like a Mike Evans, right? I mean, he's even been in the league for a while, but
Chris Godwin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chris Godwin, good example.
If you want to stay there, yeah.
And this is what my point is. There's a difference, a very small difference between elite and really good or just good. And the good even drops down a little further. And I think that's where OBJ is. I think OBJ is clearly still an NFL player, but he's not even close to elite. And I'd argue he never was. Mm-hmm. If you look at his stats, if you look at what he's done, has he ever been truly elite, or did he just make the greatest catch of all time in New York City on Monday Night Football against an arch rival, and his stock just went through the roof, and he never really came back from that?
Sorry to cut you off, Mike, but we got to go.
Okay, we're getting close. Let's do the t-shirt giveaway real quick. Only 31 entries, so randomly select. Boom.
Here we go.
And Xander H is the winner.
Congrats.
I would assume that's Xander Hernandez. So Xander, congratulations. You are the winner of a guy named Blake. I'm sure your profile, I'll check with John, but I'm sure your profile probably has all of your contact information. If not, Xander, send me an email to browniepostgame@gmail.com with your name, address, and shirt size, por favor, and we'll get you going. Final thoughts on the game, guys. Final thoughts. We got a couple minutes left, 10 minutes before kickoff, so we'll make it brief. I will say I think it's going to be a fun game today. I think we're going to win. I'm not super concerned about the guys who are out. It's going to be interesting because it's the Patriots. It's Bill Belichick, who, Bill Belichick week is always fun for me because he was the when I was coming into my own as an adolescent, as a Browns guy. I mean, I caught the tail end of the Marty years. I caught a little Bud Carlson, but when I was becoming a young adult, it was Bill Belichick and, all that stuff, starter jackets and all that kind of thing. So it's always fun to go back and play against Belichick. So I hope we win. Mike, I'll kick it to you, and then we'll give it to my dad, and we'll get out of here.
Yep. I know we're short of time. So the only thing I will say is we win, run the ball well, play action works, defense carries, from where they left off last week, and we're going back home to play the Lions, which should be another win. And we're looking good. So
beautiful, Dad.
Yeah, I hope Johnson has a good game. I hope Baker has a good game. I got my Baker jersey on. I think he will have a good game. I think we need 2 in a row. So go Brownies.
All right, go Browns. We will see you at the post-game show, 4:15-ish. Make sure if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, and we'll see you then. Go Browns.
Go Brownies.
Go Brownies.